that was the most violent, that was the ANC, won because they were the most violent, and they basically killed everyone who dared go against them. And so they created this monopoly under Black South Africans, which we actually discussed earlier in this video in more detail. Then, immorality and criminality stereotypes were spread through newspapers to portray black people as more prone to crime. This is very interesting because, in 2003, the South African police force stopped publishing crime statistics by race. Now, one can only ask yourself, why did they do that? Why is there no more breakdowns as to who commits more murders, which areas? Okay, we can break it down by area. That's how we know Nyanga and Khayelitsha is the areas with the most murders in the entire country. But we can't break it down by how much of the crime that we are seeing is black on black, how much is black on colored, how much is colored on black, how much is white on black, how much is white on white, etc. We don't have that. But in the United States of America, it recently became very popular to talk about racial crime statistics. And in the United States of America, a lot of people, even the late great Charlie Kirk, talked a lot about this. 13% of the population, which is the black population in America, commits 52% of all murders in that country. Of course, most of these murders are black on black violence. But then if you look at actual, interracial crimes, the per capita stats are only much higher. Another very interesting thing that I actually read yesterday while I was talking to AI to do some research was I saw all of these, documentaries and series on Netflix about these school shooters in America. And every single time the school shooter they make a documentary about, or the series that they have where there's a school shooter, a series is being made about him, every single time it's a white kid. And then I actually just asked Grok, ignore anything else, just give me the numbers. What percentage of school shootings were committed by white children, and what percentage were committed by black children in the United States of America? I just need to quickly find that little screenshot for you guys. And then I'm going to show you the screenshot that I took at what the percentages were. I didn't prepare to actually share this with you, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer for me to find the actual screenshot. There we go. Now I just need to share this screen. There we go. So, school shooters are 42% white and 35% black, while the population of kids in schools are 56% white and 12% black. So if you actually can do mathematics, you can see that not regarding all of the explanation that he gives under this little tweet, where you can pause the video and see what how he explains it, black kids are more than 5 times more likely to commit a school shooting in the United States than white kids are. But yet, all we ever see is white kids being portrayed as these school shooters. And it's basically the exact opposite of the propaganda being perpetuated that they say that Stratcom was perpetuating, where the propaganda now is that white kids are school shooters and black kids basically are not, because we never ever see anything about a black school shooting happening in America. But if you look at the actual statistics, 5 times more likely, 5 times more likely in the US. So back to South Africa. As I said, we cannot see the actual interracial crime statistics in the country because the police stopped publishing those. But the question is, why did the police stop publishing interracial crime statistics in South Africa? Well, you can think for yourself. Is it because they don't want people to see that white people are much more likely to commit crime, or is it the other way around? I'll leave that one up to you. Then, the idea that ANC rule would lead to economic collapse and hyperviolence was aggressively marketed to white voters by Stratcom. Again, how more true could it get? We didn't see a complete economic collapse, but the economy is definitely doing a lot worse today than it did do during apartheid. We also see that the economy that was growing rapidly before the sanctions after apartheid also started growing rapidly after the sanctions were lifted, and a lot of people were investing into the country. Then we see a plateau, and now we see an economic decline where the economy in South Africa had not grown since 2016. The economy in 2016 was bigger in total than the economy is today. So yes, economic decline did happen. Stratcom was right about this, and hyperviolence, I think we talked about enough on this particular video, because we discussed it in previous points. So that is about it that I did prepare for this video. And as you guys could hear from basically all of the points that Stratcom was accused of perpetuating against the ANC, and also the predictions that they were making, was mostly true. Mostly true. It would be dishonest for anyone to say otherwise. And now comes the distinction. When we are today being accused of spreading Stratcom propaganda, well, we are basically being accused of speaking the truth, because as we saw from the stats that we discussed in this video, most of the things that Stratcom actually produced was the truth. All right. Thank you, guys.